Tennis may look like an individual sport, but behind the scenes there's a team of experts analysing every aspect of the game. We'll be joined by the team behind Britain's best tennis pros to look at the strategies, techniques and tactics used at the top of the game and show you how to apply them to your game.
Kudla then gets to it, and Andy does really well to change his position to cover as much as line and as cross as possible.
If you can then, when you are approaching, feel like you're getting a little bit of a momentum down the court as well.
Welcome everybody to the National Tennis Centre. I'm Kate Mason and today I'm joined by two experts. Matt James, top coach here at the National Tennis Centre, and Tom Callingham, LTA performance analyst. So the grass court season kicked off with the Surbiton Trophy, and this guy, Andy Murray, was in the draw for the first time since 2004, prioritising his grass court training instead of going to the French Open, right Tom? You've worked closely with Andy. What did you make of his performance overall?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see him back at Surbiton. Had a few tough matches, good preparation for the weeks ahead on grass for him.
So when it comes to grass court tennis, one thing that people think of is that people approach the net more often. And if we're thinking about people watching at home as well, let's say they don't have access to grass, but it's still important to think in your game about the right time to approach the net.
Yeah, of course. You know, a lot of players will not necessarily get access to grass, so more artificial grass, which is a slightly quicker court that stays a little bit lower. So yeah, understanding when to approach is going to be key for any surface.
Okay, and that's something we're going to talk about today, but we're going to start with Andy. Let's take a look at some of the examples that you guys have picked out to talk about how he's planned his approaches.
Yeah. So the first one against Rodionov, we'll just play it through here. Nice cross-court exchange.
So why in particular did you choose this one?
So first of all, he picked the correct ball. So he's about to approach here on the backhand side. His opponent is way out of position, so there's a lot of space there to hit into. On grass, the ball stays 9 centimetres lower than on hard.
Right.
So it's, as you can see, it skids across the surface, making it really hard for Rodionov to get a good racket on it. He does well to get it back. And then the other important thing that Andy's done is he's split stepped early. So he's about to finish his split step as the ball has been contacted. And that gives him plenty of time to come into the net and finish off an easy volley. And
coach, what would you add?
So one of the key things obviously is that he's come in when the opponent's slicing. So generally the slice is going to have to go up a little bit. So that's where you can actually close the net down and have a slightly easier volley.
Right.
If you're approaching and an opponent's having kind of two hands on their backhand or hitting a one-hander with sort of topspin or flat, generally they're going to probably pass you a little bit more.
Right.
So as you can see there, his contact's having to go up, and Andy can close the net down pretty well there.
Moving beautifully.
Okay, awesome. So we've understood a bit more about a good time to approach. Let's look at the second clip that you've got. This is against Dennis Kudla. Take us through it.
So this is a slice approach here. So this ball here, he reacts and hits a nice slice down into Kudla's backhand.
Yeah.
And Andy gets himself into a really good position here with a good split step to react to a ball which Kudla couldn't get up and down, so it's just gone quite high. And then Andy puts away a volley. Kudla then gets to it, and Andy does really well to change his position to cover as much as line and as cross as possible. And it just doesn't give Kudla a chance, really.
Well, that was all the damage was done by the approach.
It's a really nice example. So if we go back to the approach, obviously not just grass, you'd use this, and he's going to be inside the court. It's a low ball. It's actually the right time to approach probably on any sort of surface that's going to keep the ball a little bit low or skid through to an opponent. So your artificial grass, maybe even fast indoor court or fast outdoor court, that'd be a really effective option. And then it's all about positioning. So he sort of positioned himself between the two angles that the opponent's got, and it actually makes it very difficult for someone to pass.
This is basically about minimising the options that the opponent has, and this is kind of what the approach is about.
Exactly, it's all about squeezing and pressuring the opponent into sort of going for probably a little bit too much, or being in a really good position that you get a slightly easier volley. You know, if people are missing too many approaches, they're probably trying to hit too many winners or to hit it a little bit too hard, And if obviously they're getting past a lot, then they need to actually find a little bit more precision.
Tom, thank you so much for that. That was really, really useful. I think now, Matt, we're going to get a chance to get on court and see how we can take some of these strategies from a double Wimbledon champion and adapt them to our own game. Okay, so Matt, we've talked through how this works with Andy. What are the key things we need to think about if we want to come to the net more in our own game?
So a lot of things you need to think about relates to sort of the time and space on a court. So the first thing is kind of how to set the situation up that will allow you to approach effectively. So if you're in a kind of a baseline exchange going cross court, as soon as you feel like you've got them off court, you've created space with a really good cross court shot that's good width, you've now got good space to hit down the line and probably put them in trouble. So if I've hit that good shot cross court, there's a shortish reply. So now I'm going to be inside the baseline. If you can then, when you are approaching, feel like you're getting a little bit of a momentum down the court as well.
Right.
That's then going to save you time that you're going to be able to get to the net quicker.
So you're effectively using the follow through to advance into the court?
Yeah, so using your shot to actually hop into the court or keep running, so then you're hitting your volley from closer in. If you do this effectively, you actually can hit it from a higher contact point, which it makes the volley a little bit easier. Okay, so let's put it into practice now. So you'll imagine you've hit a really nice cross-court shot that's opened the court up, created this big space down the line, and this will be kind of your target area for your approach, okay? Notice it's not actually that close to the line. You've got a bit of room to work with. So it's definitely more precision over power because of the work you've done with the shot before. Try and get it into the space. Remember to come through towards the net after. Space. Good, okay. So the biggest positive there was actually how early you took that ball, okay? Even though it was really good height for you as well, but you took the time away. You've created that space with the shot before, so then I've hit a short reply. That'll happen a lot in matches because you've already put a little bit of pressure on, and now you're adding loads of pressure. If I'm trying to hit a passing shot, I'm seeing you at the net and thinking I don't have much space now to hit.
Right.
Okay, so that's why the approach, when done effectively, they win a massive amount of points on it. Okay, so now let's look a little bit more at the volley itself. But before actually hitting the volley, one of the things that really gets forgotten about a lot is a really good effective split step. So after you've hit that approach shot down the line, a lot of people actually try then splitting in the middle of the court and trying to get to this point. But we're in the wrong place for that angle, okay? So a little bit of a rule of thumb is actually to follow the ball. If they're hitting a backhand, a right-hander's hitting a backhand, I will come in and split step here, just off center, and from this position, I can cover line, or I go diagonally across to cover the cross court, and it gives them very little space. And I'm in a neutral position to be able to go and cover both sides, but from this split, I can actually cross over. Whereas if I keep running, if I approach and just keep running, I actually can only cover this now. So you've hit that really good approach shot, and now we're going to make sure that your positioning's really good, and then you're getting an effective split step as well, okay?
Okay.
To help with the volley, okay? Because it's not all about the approach. You need to be able to knock a volley away as well. Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready, and go. Good.
All right.
Good volley.
Thanks, Matt.
No,
Thank
well
you. Really appreciate it. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. Thanks to Matt and to Tom. Next week, we'll be back with plenty more tips and strategies from the pros.